everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 750, Frank's Deathbed Catch-Up. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well for me. I'm not sure. I think they're going better for me than they are for you. But also, too, as we continue our travel podcast transition, you're now in a different city. So,
different country.
True. Well, for now. If Donald Trump has his way, that's the 51st state soon.
Yeah, I'm back in Toronto, Canada. Got in last night. Was quite concerning. Was afraid I was not going to be able to fly due to a potential DVT, but it turns out I don't have a DVT. I just have some crazy, weird bug bite or infection on my leg that's causing my immune system to go crazy and give me ridiculous fevers every night.
And for our listeners who are not, cool enough to know the little medical lingo that you were throwing out there, that's deep vein thrombosis you're referring to.
Yes, or like a blood clot, basically.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, so I guess, for me, I am excited to get on this podcast because I think it's going to be a way for you to tell me what's been happening in sports for the last week, because I've been sick since about Thursday or Friday. So I've been pretty out of the game. I haven't been able to watch or follow much of anything. I will start off this by saying, maybe this is a good segue. We can get into some specific things. Before I left Arizona, because there's no sports betting in Minnesota, I put a few last bets on in Arizona. And one of the last bets I put on was an Antipost, a nice for the next 3 or 4 months.
Can I already tell you something that was definitely in it?
No, because it's better than, yes, but it's
Manchester City to win
the
FA Cup was 100% in it.
Manchester City to win the FA Cup was one of the things. The Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup was another thing. They have promptly lost. The Boston Celtics to win the NBA championship, they promptly got upset by the New York Knicks. So Carlos Alvarez, you better hide yourself now, because not only might you not win the French Open, you might get a horrific injury at this rate.
Yeah, obviously the Duca curse extended to Jason Tatum rupturing his Achilles. So it was more than just an early exit in the playoffs. It was, it has much longer term implications for both himself and the team. But yeah, that's a bad run. I will say, I guess on the Celtics and the Maple Leafs, yes, they were both teams sort of in on the short list of potential winners, but there's a lot that needed to go right between when you bet on them and them winning the title. And I'm assuming the Celtics definitely weren't favorites at that point.
No, they were. They
were more than the Thunder.
This was. Overall. No, I would say they were both top 3 favorites overall.
Yeah, they were both.
Win.
But
yes,
the City would have been the favorites at that point. Odds-on favorites.
Keep in mind, this bet was placed going into round 2. So it's not that they didn't go and win.
They didn't make
that they were instantly knocked out of the round upon which I bet them in.
Yeah. And in the Maple Leafs just capitulating in their elimination game, losing whatever it was, 5-1. And
the Leafs might have been up 1-0 in that series when I placed that bet.
The Duke curse strikes again, and yet we can kick things off with the FA Cup. Crystal Palace beat Manchester City 1-0 on Saturday to win the FA Cup and win their first major tournament in their history. So sort of nice. And I do think it's good to see smaller teams win things. And it's also good to see teams have cups as a way of, sort of getting themselves into Europe and improving the overall stature of the club. City were sort of off the boil for the entire match. I think there were 2 major talking points aside from just the overall slightly subpar performance. The first was Dean Henderson not being sent off for clearly, handling the ball outside the area. VAR took
Yep.
a look at it, and their reasoning for why he wasn't sent off was because he wasn't denying a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity because the ball was moving away from goal. I think that's a ludicrous interpretation of that situation.
Yeah. I hate this is what I hate about VAR, and this is not just VAR in football, but obviously in American football and elsewhere, is like you have a way to more concretely abide by the rules, but then you still have these rules that are subject to loose interpretations. So you almost forfeit what could be a benefit of having advanced technology, because then you have these antiquated written out rules that allow for subjectivity. And that the clear and obvious goal scoring thing is one of those, because like how can you be 100% sure or 50% or 0%, like it's so subjective.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be though. I think there's a way to just say what's clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean, was that a really good chance to score? And I don't think there's a single person on earth who would have said, oh, do you know what? If Erling Haaland rounds the goalkeeper, okay, he's slightly angling away from goal, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good goal scoring opportunity. You know, and yeah, because he swipes the ball miles out of the path, the ball goes pretty far away from goal. But if he's not
Yeah.
able to do that, if he isn't able to use his hands, Holland, just nicks the ball by him, and then yeah, he's going a tiny bit wide, but he scores from that position 70, 80 times out of 100, so it's obviously a great goal scoring opportunity. It should be a red card. And what I love about it, look, in a sense, I kind of like it because you have these big teams. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in terms of how rules are interpreted. I don't think teams get bad calls more consistently. I think mistakes are made that impact each team. But that's a great example of if you think City get the rub of the green on officiating decisions, it's one of the worst ones this season. And that's the difference between being 1-0 down and the opposition having their goalkeeper sent off with 70 minutes to go and having to bring a replacement goalkeeper on, substitute another player out, completely change your formation, be down to 10 men. It would have been game over, and instead it's a throw into City. Like so that was ludicrous.
Eddie, you just ate up that right there. It is a conspiracy theory, Eddie, because City don't need to win this meaningless FA Cup. So they can afford to pretend like they didn't get the right call. So therefore, down the line, when they do have the refs in their pocket, they can go back to that and say, well, we didn't get that call in the FA Cup, so how much do we have in our back pocket? You just ate that up, hook, line, and sinker.
All right, RFK
Man, what
Jr.
a gullible person you are.
Look, I think this season City needed that win. So, previous seasons you would have been correct, but I think City desperately needed that. And then the other big talking point was obviously City were then awarded a penalty not too long after, and Erling Haaland picked the ball up. I think everyone in the world, I'll say this, you want to have a Duke of Curse. My only bet on the FA Cup final was Erling Haaland to score and City get awarded a penalty. And literally, when I placed the bet in my mind, I went, who should I pick to be a goal scorer? Haaland's not been great. He's been injured. I thought, if
Not good
City
in
get a,
finals.
yeah, he's never scored at Wembley. I said, if City get a penalty, though, he's taking it. That's bet done. City got the penalty, and I thought to myself, "Here we go! What a smart move." He was even money to score anytime.
Wow. That's
I thought,
amazing.
yeah, I was like, "This is the one of the smarter bets I've placed in recent times." He picks the
If
ball
you
up.
started if you started the beginning of the year, like City against Crystal Palace, Erling Haaland to score was probably minus
1-2.
250.
Yeah, one to
Yeah.
two, I think probably.
Yeah.
But he picked the ball up and then he kissed the ball and handed it to Marmouche, who,
No, he
bro,
kissed your bet away.
yeah, yeah.
Here you go, Eddie. Mwah.
who proceeded to then
Suck
miss.
on this.
Yeah, and and that was the end of that bet because Erling
Now,
Haaland never really came close to scoring again.
now, like obviously, like I said, I was pretty out of it for most of this week, so I haven't really read up or looked into it. Why didn't he take it?
I think his logic is that he's been injured recently, and sort of that other players deserve. I think it's his sort of good guy nature.
In a
I think
meaningless game that really
I
doesn't
think
matter much.
I think critics would say that maybe the pressure of the moment, given his poor Wembley record, maybe played into it.
Wow.
But I mean, he's been castigated by, because this is an example of this is when you lack the killer instinct, that no real superstar goal scorer would ever do that. And you've had everyone,
Never. In a
every
final? Are you kidding me?
yeah, and you've had plenty come out and say, even if I'd missed 9 penalties in a row, I'm still taking the penalty. Like no one's, and at first there was some speculation that maybe Guardiola had pre-match said, "While you've been injured, someone else gets the responsibilities." But Guardiola subsequently came out and said that's not wasn't the case at all, and I expected Erling Haaland to take it. So that's and it was then looked even worse because Dean Henderson afterwards said, if Haaland and look, these are good, you know, mind games to play after the fact. Maybe he's telling the truth, but he said if Haaland had taken it, he wasn't sure which way Haaland would go. But when Marmoush stepped up, he knew which way he would go. And so he said once he saw that, he knew he was going to save it. Now, no, that bit I think is a little bit of the ego kicking in, but he does make a very early and direct move in that direction. So I
Oh, he
think
does.
there can be no doubt that at least he felt more comfortable probably on the data that they have that the penalty is very likely to go in that direction, whereas Haaland is probably a little bit more unpredictable with his penalty taking.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great penalty either, but I mean, he definitely
It
reacted
wasn't a
very
bad
quickly.
one. It was one of those
No, it
where
wasn't bad, but
it's because it gets
it could have been a
saved.
little more towards the corner.
Yeah, of course, but it's because it gets saved because the goalkeeper goes early and guesses the right way, so it's a reasonably comfortable save because he's guessed absolutely right. But if Henderson goes the other way, people would have been saying, "Nice penalty, took it calmly, tucked it away." So it is penalty analysis is always so outcome based. But yeah, I think it was a baffling decision and not a good look. Also, just their styles of players. Like LeBron James, right, is always criticized for being the guy who sort of passes up the game-winning shot from time to time. But then a lot
Well,
of
he has good reason because he
yeah,
absolutely sucks on the last
yes, you've
shot.
given us that statistic before. But but also part of his game is being a playmaker, setting other people up. Holland, the only thing he does is score goals. So if he starts to give up opportunities to score goals, then he really is leaning into the criticism in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I was shocked he did not take it. I couldn't understand it.
So was I. And I knew that the moment he handed that ball over, I knew my bet was dead. I knew there was absolutely no chance he was scoring in the remainder of the match.
Well, we should say then, following that up, though, City did come back with a win midweek for the Premier League to set up a very interesting final week of the Premier League.
For the Champions League places, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I come on. I thought everyone knows that by now.
Well, but yeah, it's we're searching for interest on the final day of the Premier League. But yes, there is at least some.
But I think it does make it pretty interesting because it's not the teams you would expect to all be there. And you have some potential for some real upsets. I mean, you have the potential that it could be Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and Newcastle,
Well,
along with Arsenal.
yeah, but City are pretty much
Pretty
safe
tucked in.
because Chelsea play Newcastle.
Yeah, that's true.
So they can have only one of them can leapfrog City, and then they have their goal difference is so superior. So that win midweek basically it locks City into a top 5 position. Something remarkable would have to happen in order for them to be. They would need obviously there would have to be a winner in the Chelsea Newcastle match. So City would need to lose. There'd have to be a winner in the Chelsea Newcastle match. Aston Villa would need to win, and then Nottingham Forest would need to win and overturn a what looks
15.
Yeah, they needed like a pretty. There need to be some results we've never seen in the Premier League before. So I think City are safe. But the
Yeah.
rest of it, Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa, Forest, that's all to play for. And especially when you are Villa and Forest and you know
Sorry.
that Chelsea and Newcastle are playing each other.
It's not
So,
Chelsea playing Newcastle.
oh,
It's Nottingham Forest playing
Nottingham Forest,
Chelsea.
sorry. Yeah, yeah. But still in the same, scenario where you get the sort of, if you're Nottingham Forest, you can win and leapfrog Newcastle. So you kind of, it's not within their own hands,
Yeah.
but it's kind of becomes a bit more doable than if you're on the final day needing, three results that you're not in control of to all go your way.
Yeah. And you have Newcastle is facing Everton, and Man City is facing Fulham.
Yeah, and yeah,
I should say, and Aston Villa, who's currently sitting out, is facing United.
yes, which may be the easiest of the fixtures. So that's good for them, and we also have to. So yeah, I mean the race for the top five goes down to the wire, but I think it's a disappointing season overall, and I want to do post Premier League. One of the bits I think we'll do is who has had the most disappointing seasons and who's had the most who's had the best seasons. And we could do that afterwards because a lot of that will depend, obviously, on what happens on the final day and also what happens in the match going on right now in the Europa League final, where Spurs are currently 1-0 up against Manchester United. That vastly changes how these seasons look for either of those two teams, with a trophy in Champions League football being potentially secured. But uh, it's disappointing across European football as a whole. We've been treated to some really nail-biting finishes in various leagues, and this season, Italy is the only one that's up for grabs. Serie A going down to the final match of
Yeah.
the season in the kind of big five. Bundesliga was, done and dusted weeks ago, even if Bayern only officially sealed it, a week or so ago. Real Madrid Barcelona was not quite the titanic matchup that we were most would have been predicting preseason. And then, PSG back to dominating Liga, Liverpool winning at a canter in the Premier League. So we just really have to focus our attentions on Serie A and that exciting battle between Napoli and Inter Milan for the title there.
Well, and then I guess you could say you have championship. You have the
Yeah, you've
playoff
got
on Saturday, right?
the playoff final. Um,
Does it
it's
slightly upset you that Sheffield United are in when Blackburn played Sheffield United on the last week and actually looked like they could have beat them and should have beat them?
I'll say no, because the reality is, right, Sheffield United have the highest points total of any team ever to not be automatically promoted. And and they really took, in those final couple of weeks, they really kind of took their foot off the gas slightly and rested a couple of players. And I mean, they brushed aside Bristol City, right, in the first leg. And I don't think Blackburn would have stood a chance against them over two legs. I don't think Sunderland stand much of a chance against them, but still in a winner takes all, you never know, weird things happen. But I think Sheffield United should be far heavier favorites than they are. And I do expect them to win that match. It's a worry. We obviously we spoke to Brett Johnson about it and the disparity between the good teams and the bad teams in the Premier League and also in the Championship. And I think Sheffield United, getting to the playoffs and winning in the first round of the playoffs 6-0 is not a good sign for the overall health of the Championship, and it's worrying.
Do you think it's, still think it's an anomaly? Just like
I
maybe just a one off?
I don't think it is. I think maybe Bristol City were not the sixth best team in the Championship, and so the fact that they got there means there are some other teams who probably could have put up a slightly better fight against Sheffield United than they did, but still, the three best teams in the Championship, I think, were head and shoulders above everybody else for the vast majority of the Championship season. And think you're just looking at a future where you can always pencil at least two of the relegated sides for just being far too good, and then some other team, either the third relegated side or uh, another team that's sort of been building intelligently and spent a bit of money to be able to kind of also cement that sort of top three place. Uh, so I think it's worrying. I think the anomaly is the fact that you had Luton just in free fall and then get relegated from the championship. I think that's the anomaly, and I think that will be the example that people use of look how competitive the championship is. Luton were in the Premier League, and 2 seasons later they're in League One, and that's because no one really knows how they ended up in the Premier League in the first place. They had terrible transfer dealings when they got promoted, and then just had a season from hell this year.
Well, they were just going to rely on that one little Instagram post that everyone kept putting up about look how shitty the away entrance is to their
Yes.
stadium.
Can you believe this is a Premier League ground? No, and now it's a League One ground.
No, guess what?
Now it looks
now
now it looks
now
right.
you can get in for free.
Yeah. Now it looks the ground has found its level. That's for sure. And other sports news, finishing up the football talk, I guess. I know Arsenal get a lot of my attention when it comes to my
Ooh,
criticism of Premier League sides. I'm going to turn
okay, okay.
my focus is now squarely aimed at Liverpool.
Here we go.
I
Is
think
this that they've just shut down post win?
no, it's the
Oh, okay.
treatment and reaction to Trent Alexander-Arnold announcing he was leaving and going to Real Madrid. And look, I
You mean
get it.
just Trent?
Yeah, TTA, TAA. Sorry, the, it's hard to get three letters right. The I get it. It's always disappointing and hurtful when a player chooses to leave. And in particular, I also understand that when a player sort of feels like he's one of your own because he's from the local area, because he's grown up as a supporter, because he's come through the academy, then it hurts even more because you feel like there should be a stronger connection. And I think most fans think if that were me, I would never leave, or whatever else they want to think about. What I can't stand with Liverpool supporters is I can't stand them telling how special they are and how we don't get it because you're not a Scouser, you're not a Liverpool supporter. You don't get this is a football club like no other, and you can't possibly imagine what the relationship is like as a supporter of this club with the club or players, the supporters with the players. You just don't get it. It's the same everywhere. Liverpool have a few more supporters than some other clubs just because they're from a relatively big city, and they've been successful for long periods of their history. But the relationship and the passion, it's there just in smaller numbers for pretty much every club in England, across Europe, across the world. It's just that's the way sport works. It's fanaticism. But what I hate about it is they then built and Liverpool as a city, but Liverpool as a football club has built themselves on this whole idea of it being more than a club and how they embrace their players and how much they care about them deep down inside, not just as assets. They're not just footballers who deliver results. They're people and they love each other. And the whole "you'll never walk alone" nonsense. Where's the "you never walk alone" now? While they're booing him, jeering him because he's decided to go and test himself elsewhere and try and better himself and further himself as a footballer and go and play for arguably the biggest club in world football and maybe the biggest club in world sport, the most iconic name in the world of sport. And he's decided, oh, I'd like to go and see what that's like for a little bit. And they've gone, oh, traitor, Judas. Oh, awful. And then the real criticism that they then say at him is, okay, even if he wanted to leave, why do you have to leave on a free? Why couldn't he have signed a new contract so we could sell him? Let me reverse that. Why didn't you sell him last summer? Why you had plenty of opportunities to sell him. If the goal was, if that was, why would he have said, if I'd been him or his agent gone, sell me last summer, I would have left last year. What if I knew I was going to leave? Everyone knew I was going to leave. So if you wanted to get money for me, sell me last summer, sell me in January. But the reality is, you wanted to keep me, and also the clubs that wanted me. Yeah, it's nicer that I'm leaving on a free. It makes me leaving that little bit easier. But how could I trust that? Oh, I'd sign a new contract, and then you'll sell me for a nice favor. Well, you'll get 20, 30 million. The club doesn't need money. This isn't some club desperate for extra cash. They've just won the Premier League. They've been competing in the Champions League. They make tons of money, I, and it just annoys me that the loyal Liverpool fans, it's so hurt, and then they're just scumbags. They're just absolute scum.
All right. Well, my question to you is, we have probably not a listener of the podcast, but a friend off podcasts, more of your friend than mine, who is a big Liverpool supporter, who is also a big Trent supporter, and ultimately cost us a big bet one day when we didn't follow him when we asked who would be the first goal scorer for England in a match, and it ended up being Trent. He refers to him as Trent because they're such a close basis. How does he feel about Trent abandoning Liverpool?
So we
Was
haven't had
he
a conversation.
gracious, or
I
or
very
or was
much doubt it.
he okay?
But we haven't I haven't seen him since it was formally announced, and we haven't had a conversation about it yet. But I'll get feedback on that soon. Do you know what? I think he won't be as critical because I do think he'll understand the lore of Real Madrid and the wanting to go and test yourself and go and live in a different country. I think he'll get that more than maybe the average Liverpool supporter would. But I still think he'll say he should have stayed.
I think it's okay to say you'll stay, but I agree with you. I don't. It's always crazy to me that fans expect players to do like whatever the fan wants, but then if the player has a bad game, it's okay for the fan to be pissed off and hate them and think they suck and yell at them and boo them and go on Instagram and threaten their family and life and everything like that. That's fine. That's not outrageous for a fan to do that. But when a player has an amazing opportunity for like a career moment and they leave the club, then it's not okay. That part's not okay. But it's okay for you to be like an online troll and bully and everything else to that player when they don't have the greatest game of their life for one game that you needed them to, or something like that.
And even that, let's say for the really great Liverpool supporters who don't troll people, don't abuse people. Do you know how long a list we could run through of diehard Liverpool supporters who've been Liverpool players, but who weren't quite good enough? And so at different moments in time, the club has said, thank you very much. Now go enjoy playing for Bournemouth. Go enjoy playing for Bolton. Go enjoy playing for Walsall. And the Liverpool fans don't circle around and say, he's one of our own. We can't let any of them go. We're going to have a playing squad of 10,000 players for anyone who at any point stepped inside the academy. That is a lifelong commitment we have for them to be Liverpool players. So it's a one-way transaction. It's if you get good enough to make the first team squad, then you are signing a lifetime contract and you will never go anywhere else as long as we want you. But when we don't want you, you need to nicely, kindly go somewhere else, hopefully wherever we tell you to go, where the highest bidder will give the most money to Liverpool Football Club. That's what bothers me about it, is there's no realization there. And the thing that bothers you are you have like massive twats like Adam Rowe, the comedian, who defines himself as being this like all of his comedy is just based on how special the Scousers are, which is so dumb. But then on top of it too, it's him ripping into Trent Alexander-Arnold and saying you could have been a club legend like Steven Gerrard. Oh, no one will remember you now. Steven Gerrard wanted to leave. He only didn't leave because supposedly people basically gangsters in Liverpool threatened to harm either him or his family. And so he decided not to leave. But he was desperately trying to manipulate moves to Chelsea and elsewhere at different points in time in his career. So again, all these people, because they just end up staying. It's like how LA fans, for American listeners, treat Kobe Bryant as if they're like, oh, this guy never want to leave. It's like he really wanted to go to the Chicago Bulls at one point and tried to manipulate a trade there, but it fell through. So it isn't that he never ever considered leaving. It's just at the right moment in time, the right deal didn't present itself. Because athletes want to do, they have ideas in their mind of what would be wonderful to achieve. And I can totally understand Trent Alexander-Arnold saying, I've won the Champions League with Liverpool. I've won 2 Premier League titles with Liverpool. I've had an experience with this club that I would have never believed possible. And now I have the chance to go to Real Madrid and test myself somewhere else and prove myself and maybe better myself as a footballer when people are being critical of some of my limitations. I should go and do that, and we'll see how that works out. And on top of it, probably make a lot more money.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, and also Liverpool fans then too. You hate free
Oh, okay.
transfers.
Not done yet. Not done
You hate
yet.
free transfers. You better not be signing anyone on a free anytime soon because they are traitors. So the next time Liverpool fans, what a bargain we've got. We're signing player X on a free from PSG. We're signing player X on a free from Brazil, some Brazilian club. No, no, no. Those people are scumbags. You should not sign them for your club because they are betraying their former employers. We need to go back to the, you know, before the Bosman ruling, when players couldn't leave on a free. That's what they need to be, indentured servants to the clubs that they signed their first contract with.
Do you want to take an Arsenal rant while you're all heated up?
No, they haven't done much to piss me off recently.
Okay. I figured while you're on a roll.
No, they're fine.
Okay.
That season's over for them, so they can't annoy me anywhere near as much.
I mean, I think the best part about that is we don't have to get Sam on the podcast. We saved grace with that offer you had made him.
Didn't even come close.
I was never worried, so we were okay.
Any other sporting news to cover?
Yeah, I've got one. Obviously, well, let's start with the NFL because I have a college football one, but the big NFL story that's just kind of hit the news stream is the tush push has not been banned. They voted, and there was a majority of votes a majority of the votes to ban the tush push, but not enough votes to actually enact the banishment of the tush push. I think they needed like 4 more teams. I think it was something like that. It was 22-10 was the vote, which is pretty crazy that you can have a 22-10 vote, but that's still not enough. That seems like a pretty high amount. But that was the one that the Packers had suggested. So again, I don't love the tush push, and I get that all teams can do it, but at the end of the day, not all teams are willing to risk the health and brain of their quarterback. So slightly unfair that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts are okay with that. So they'll just continue to do it. I think you could make changes to it. Like I saw an annoying post on Instagram where they said, the Green Bay Packers had decided to ban the tush push, but then they did this, and it was a play where like the running back runs up under center and takes the ball and does like a kind of like a sneak. But it's different because he didn't have 2 really strong people behind him at the very start, like already about to push him as he catches the ball. Like a QB sneak and the tush push are 2 completely different things. So I think there are ways that you can limit it, like maybe have a certain distance that players have to stand behind or around the quarterback, or like a halo or something. Because it's just, it does get a little unfair. And it's just annoying. It's an annoying play to have to watch. It's annoying, maybe because I'm also, the team I support is in the NFC East, so I see the Eagles more often. But it's just annoying that, you have a team on offense and your defense stops them into like a 4th and 1. And it's like, oh, never mind. We didn't stop them because they're just going to do this play that's guaranteed to get them that last yard.
But
It's
it's
just
only
frustrating.
guaranteed. But it's only guaranteed for them, right? This is the issue, because we see lots of other teams fail. We saw famously, obviously, last season, we saw the Bills come up short, basically trying a tush push with Josh Allen. And so we see other teams not being able to implement it in the same way. And so that, I think, is a tough thing with, if every team, if all 32 teams could just use this and it basically was turning a 4th and 1 into a first down for everybody, then I would be in favor of banning it, because I would say it feels like a slightly dangerous play and it's not fun to watch and everyone could do it. But the fact that not everyone could do it, then you're trying to ban just something that teams are good at. And if it were that easy, everyone else would have figured it out. But really, it's only the Eagles who do it with the type of efficiency that allows them to basically view a 4th and 1, potentially even a 4th and 2, as just, tush push territory for an automatic first down. So I'm fine with not banning it. I also think, however, they would have had to have phrased it. You're not wrong. The idea of some kind of gap between where players could line up behind a quarterback when he's under center, maybe that could have fixed it. I still think they would have creatively found a way anyway to address that issue. If you start to get into the idea of pushing, there's too many situations in an NFL game where there's sort of a little scrum that forms, and then the line comes in and tries to push a running back forward while he's being held up. And if we turned all of that into penalties, it would be really painful. So I don't know. I'm fine with it staying on. I'm less fine with some of the other rules that they didn't change. I thought that the reseeding proposal for the NFL playoffs made a lot of sense, and they looked like they might do that, but in the end decided against it.
Oh, I thought they did. I thought they voted that one in.
No,
Oh,
looked like everyone, the expectation was that it was going to be passed, but in the end it's been tabled. So I was kind of disappointed by that one. The adjustments to the onside kicks, I just don't get what we're doing at this point. Like, it was dumb when you could only do an onside kick in the fourth quarter. Now you can do it anytime, but you have to be losing. I think these kind of things this feels like we're playing children's sports at this stage of like, oh, when you're losing, you get the little power boost to try and get yourself back into the game. Like, if you're winning and you want to try an onside kick, I don't know the only time I can really remember that happening with any significance was in the Super Bowl and the Colts against the Saints. But I can't, and now that you have to declare it, I cannot imagine a team that's winning declaring that they were going to take an onside kick and going for it. If you want to do that, like, more power to you. Why are we taking that possibility away?
push back a little bit on the tush push with the everyone can do it, because if you look at the stats, the Eagles and Bills combined ran the tush push 163 times the past 3 seasons. That's more than every other team combined. So those two teams in the last 3 seasons have done it more than the other 20 or what, 20, 29, 30, 32 teams? I can't remember.
32 teams, right?
Yeah. The other 30 teams combined. So that is definitely leaning towards two teams running it. And then on top of that, they got it on 87% versus the rest of the league is only successful of getting either a first down or a touchdown on 71% of the time. So it is favoring two teams dramatically more than
That's
others.
my point. I'm saying not everyone can do it. So that's why I think banning it would be stupid.
No, I'm saying not, but what I'm saying is not everyone wants to do it because.
No, come on. You think they've all got the tush push up their sleeve on 4th and 1, but the Cleveland Browns are saying, guys, it's no fun. Let's punt. Like, that's because you know what everyone loves?
Maybe they're saying, well, but I'll tell you this, though. I'll take the
stalled drives and punts. That's what really gets the fans going.
But we know for a fact that the Chiefs won't run it because they don't want Mahomes to get hit. Like, they don't even do QB sneak.
Because he like dislocated his knee once doing it.
Exactly. So again, but that's what I'm saying is like.
But that goes back to the fact you get a quarterback who's good at it, who's capable of withstanding. Like, if the Chiefs.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I don't think it's fair that the Bills and the Eagles are literally willing to kill their quarterback to do this play, and that you have to ask everyone else.
Well, look, again, it goes back to, you and I have discussed this. You could get your backup quarterback. You could get your third string quarterback to be good, to be a specialist tush pusher if you wanted. You could get your fullback to do it. You could get your fourth string tight end to do it. If the teams were if it were either that easy or they were that determined to get it to work without risking injury to their star quarterback, there are plenty of solutions that would allow you to do that pretty easily. If you especially think you could have, because we don't get it needs good coordination between maybe the center and that player to sort of get the snap, get the snap. Okay, so have a backup center who specializes in that. So those two just spend 6 days a week practicing tush push snaps, and then when you need it, the two of them trot onto the field and are there, and you don't really care if either of them gets hurt. Like, there's so many solutions to this that. Ultimately, those teams do it just with greater efficiency, and the Eagles in particular do it with incredible efficiency, right? It does feel unstoppable with them in a way that it doesn't even with the Bills. But yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with it. I just wish teams would figure out a better way to stop it. That's ultimately. And some teams have done a little bit better than others, right? But that to me is the real challenge.
What was the other thing you said before that I cut you off? Because I think I had a
The
comment to that as
onside
well.
kick.
Oh no, I agree with you on
It's just
that.
stupid. It's just
Yeah.
like it just again it does feel like it feels like you're playing. It's not even kid sports. It feels like you're playing a game with a kid, and then he's sort of changing the rules as you go. Like, oh, no, I get to do this now because you can only do this when you're losing by 17 with 3 minutes and 32 seconds left, and then I can dunk on you. But otherwise, you can't dunk on me. That would be unfair. So I think it feels a little bit like that. It's kind of stupid. And then they also increase the ways in which the replay assist will be used. It's now going to be used for a range of penalties. So defenseless players grabbing, like face masking, horse collar tackles, running into and roughing the kicker. All of those now can be reviewed, which it's funny because, right, those could all be reviewed for a while. Then we took away the review. Like
Yeah.
we kind of, it was like we should have reviews for penalties, but we're only going to do it for pass interference. Then that was annoying. So then we got rid of that. Now it's kind of coming back in. Though it worries me a little bit because I think like face masks and stuff, we could just see so many of these start to get called because there's just moments where like fingers get caught up in a face mask and it only is obvious in a replay and the whole crowd boos, and now that's going to be a penalty.
So the other topic I guess for the NFL, real quick, is Hard Knocks selected the Buffalo Bills as this year's team. I don't watch Hard Knocks as much anymore. I like when they had the Giants, which because it was like the off-season kind of like rebuilt, like free agency thing. That was actually kind of cool. Um, the training camp one now is just like, let's find these really weird, strange dudes that aren't going to make the team and highlight them anyway. But my question to you was, how many times is the Josh Allen, Hallie Steinfeld engagement marriage going to be brought up during this? What is it, like 8 episodes?
Yeah, a lot. And I think it's a shame because they are becoming, especially because, she's been in like her acting career is kind of taken off again and
Revved up.
she's getting more
Probably in the best
attention,
movie of the year. The
possibly.
front runner for the Oscar right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just wait till Horizon Part 2 comes out. But
It came out already. It's been out for a year.
because kind of
You're flustered.
what was kind of nice about them as like a famous couple, right, was that both of them, like neither of them really sought the limelight, and it was just sort of nice that they seemed like normal people who were just both really famous and successful, and then they were just sort of, and now it feels like they're being pushed, and I'm not saying it's them instigating this, although I don't think a lot of these happen at least without an agent kind of saying, hey, it would be good for you if we really kind of tried to play up to this. But uh, it feels like the thing that made them endearing is being stripped away because now they are just becoming like another celebrity couple where we're supposed to love both of them, and this, are you Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, or like, or are you them? This is, and that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, Trump said that Taylor Swift stinks now. So, maybe he's pro Josh Allen
Terrible
and
bo.
Hallie Steinfeld.
But yeah, no, it would be the Bills. I mean, they're nice. I did think their schedule announcement was cool. I don't know if you, with with everybody using AI, and then it just cut to Allen Iverson holding up a paper with their schedule on it. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty clever with teams trying to be too clever at the moment with their schedule
It's
announcement.
so crazy now. Like it was funny 6, 7 years ago. It's gotten old. Like I have what's annoying is I have no time to go and watch all 30 teams announce, like I don't have all that time in my day. And because some of them are so long. So it's a little much to have to watch them all. I mean, none of them are as good as, when you have Tyreek Hill being arrested and then have to remove it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was that one was great. And look, I also think, do you know the one we don't need to do anymore? It was funny the first time a team did it, but
Can I guess?
yeah, go ahead.
When you show the symbol and they say who it is. That
Yeah.
was the best one. The first time that happened, that was probably the best one ever. And then since then, everyone's been trying to like kind of up that, and it's just gotten annoying.
Yeah, and you can't redo it. It was the idea was clever, and they nailed the. They also got super lucky. Obviously, I mean, they probably did it to 1,000 people, but the people gave them kind of funny, good answers.
Yeah.
Now, like the last one I saw this season, I think people are leaning. I think people are aware of what they're participating in, so then they're giving intentionally dumb answers to it as well. But yeah, it just if you're gonna do an idea, at least do an original one. But let's just go back to
The
normal.
Giants one was not good. I did not like that one. I think that might have been an
It,
AI one. I don't know what it
unless you can
was.
really come up with a really original idea, like the Allen Iverson one. The only thing that killed me a little about the Allen Iverson one is like that's the Eagles should do that. Like he's a Philadelphia sports icon. That's it doesn't make as much sense for the Bills to be using him. That's the only bit about it that bothered me. But other than that, I get it.
Do you think the Hard Knocks will have a whole episode dedicated to how crazy the fans are? Do you
Oh,
think
I
like
think every
instead of
episode.
like what 1 week instead of like maybe that's it, maybe instead of focusing in on like the walk-on crazy player who may or may not make it, they literally just focus on a crazy fan and what he does week by week. I would love that. Now that would be great if they just had it. It was like, and meanwhile back in his garage, Jim is practicing how to best break a
A
table. And
table.
it just shows this guy like just jumping off his garage. And it's
Just
like,
setting
and now
himself
back at
on
the
fire.
practice field,
Yeah, yeah. The Bills are working on their tush push.
I can just picture it with the guy's voice. Like it'd be so good. I want that guy to just do it. I'll pay him. I hope he's on like what is it, Cameo? We should pay him to just do that
Isn't it
scene
Liv
for
Shriver?
us. Is it?
I think it is, isn't it? That's who it is most years. Does it change year
Maybe
to
it could
year?
be.
I think it's just
No, I
him
don't think so. No, it
because they did
doesn't.
that
Doesn't
for a
change.
while, didn't they? Where they kind of like picked someone who was kind of relevant to the team. I think they
Maybe.
they did that for a bit for a
But you're
while. Where
right.
it
I
was
think
like,
it's him because it's like a pretty iconic voice.
yeah. But I think for a little bit there was like, oh, this guy's a fan of the Jets. Let's get like a famous Jets person to do it. I think maybe that's a Mandela effect moment for me where I'm completely misremembering something. But yeah, I think he's been doing it for the last few years.
This is such a good, like, it's such a good, like, SNL skit. It could be so good where it's just like, and then meanwhile, back on, back on 24th North Oak Street, Jim has found a way to keep himself on fire for 36 seconds and break 3 tables. And it's just this fat, shirtless guy just on fire running down the street.
I've never
Oh,
seen you
he's
being
so
more
funny.
entertained by one of your own ideas.
It just cracks me up because it's like I bet you it's happening. That's like
Oh
what's
yeah, they
funny.
don't need the cam. They're doing it
Like it
without the
doesn't
camera.
have to be fake.
Well, it's like one of those things. It's that motivational speech they gave you of act as if your life is a documentary. What would your work ethic look like if a camera crew were following you around? There's someone in a garage in Buffalo who's thinking like that, but with trying to achieve the best table break.
Well, you know my feeling that we should have camera crews follow us, but
Only on nights out though, or
yeah.
trips.
So then switching to college football, DraftKings, and I think it was DraftKings and yeah, all college football, but mostly DraftKings put up a post. This was last week. AI built a promotion and relegation system for college football. DraftKings is listening, Eddie. The Premier Division has 24 teams. It's the highest tier of college football. 2 divisions of 12 teams, 12-game schedule, national championship game, no playoff. Bottom 3 teams relegated based on win percentage. So closer to like a traditional Premier League where you don't have playoffs, but you do have a one-game championship. The winner of each division, basically, of this 24 team top division. Next is the championship division, 32 teams, so a little bigger. Middle tier, 4 divisions of 8 team, again 12-game schedule. Division winners enters a 14 playoff. First, second, and third place teams get promoted. Last place in each division is relegated. And then the national division is 40 to 48 teams, and that's the lowest tier. 5 or 6 divisions of 8 teams, 12-game schedule. National playoff featuring 8 teams, and the final 4 teams are promoted. Do you like that, Eddie? Does that make you a little happier?
It's not perfect, but it's definitely improved.
I'll tell you the Premier Division. Do you want to try and guess every team of the 24 teams?
Alabama, Ohio State,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
LSU,
Yes.
Penn State.
Wait. LSU, yes. Penn State, yes.
Michigan.
Yes.
Oregon.
Yes.
The thing is, it's like doing like USC. Like, are they just throwing in big names? UCLA?
No.
Texas. Texas A&M?
No.
Florida?
No.
Wow.
You're missing a team that was in the final.
Ohio State beat this year. My mind's drawing a blank.
Notre Dame.
No. Have they gone for geographically diverse?
So
you have like Nebraska.
Not really. Nebraska's not in it. No.
Iowa.
It gets a little tricky. Yeah, Iowa's in it, which is, I guess they're always kind of in the top 20. Yeah. Surprisingly. Yeah, I'll read off the rest here. Did you say Florida State?
No, just Florida.
Clemson, Oklahoma. That was a decent one you missed. Washington, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Utah. Oh, Texas A&M is in there. Sorry, I apologize. Texas A&M, Wisconsin, UNC, Miami, Missouri, and then Kansas State. That was the one I didn't think you'd ever be able to get. Kansas State. That was a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, those mostly make sense. They don't really. I think I do get
cut out 4 and go to 20.
Yeah, I do get you have to kind of have some representation across the country, at least to start with, and then obviously success dictates what it looks like long term. And then, yeah, most of those teams at least have been reasonably good over the last few years. And you don't want to just be picking exclusively SEC teams. Or Big Ten. All right, well, we've obviously got a lot of Last of Us catching up to do at some point, and some other popular culture stuff, but I guess we could save that for our next episode.
Yeah, this is a good welcome back. I was at once on my deathbed, feeling better now, but you never know.
Yeah. This is going one way or the other. So that's our.
Sometimes they say it's like a tornado. It's like
you're in the eye of the storm.
Tornado. It's about to get swept up and smashed into a fucking billboard.
I'm fine. I've lived through it, and then just a cow is going to fly in and smack you. 200 miles an hour.
That we call it a day.
Sounds good. See ya.